Hey, in this video we will be covering, well, I guess I should introduce this video. This is my second video lesson, and I am Chiron, aka Nick, so welcome to the party. Anyways, this one's going to be about a bunch of different things, probably, just a bunch of things that enter my mind as I want to teach them. And I guess I'll cover, for starters, just some improvising tactics, like what to use and what to think about, really. So first off, let me start off by saying it's not easy. It has to come with experience and playing with people and going to playing jams and listening how your favorite guitarist or musician plays music and what they do, and just like feeling the music and getting a good understanding of what you're hearing and what should be heard. So I'll explain a little bit. I'll play a riff, and then I'll play what I'd probably play to that riff. So let's get started. If we have a simple riff like I'd probably play something like something like that, because first of all you want to get it in the same key, and if you don't understand that, I'll go over some basics in different videos. So I'm already going to say, if you don't understand scales and basic keys, this video probably isn't for you. But if you do, you want to go into an E minor pentatonic scale, which is, of course, that is at the 12th fret, which is the root. This is another root. And anyways, so I was playing this scale. And that should be familiar with you already. That is an E. So I knew that this riff would sound good in E because that's the note it sits on the longest in the riff. If you're using power chords, you want to find out the notes where it's centralized at. So this note, or that chord, stands out, and that, I know from experience, is an E, because it's a chord with that note centered around it. So I play in the E scale to that. And basically, another thing, as far as improv goes, this is going to be a fairly short, maybe under 10 minutes video, but as far as improv goes, you're going to have things in blues and rock that tell you to go up and down. It's kind of like surfing, I suppose, because you're really riding waves. And I'll give you an example with a blues shuffle. If someone is playing if they're playing something along the lines of that, I have to listen and focus and play in that key, and come to a conclusion of what I'm going to play to that. And you'll notice the sound kind of goes up and down, especially with something like a blues shuffle. That's the deepest sound. You know, you might hear something like something like that. I mean, that's a basic sort of bluesy riff, you know. But what you want to listen for, when it starts to go from something like to this higher part, that's when I would start to play higher. If you listen closely and the music tells you, it kind of gives you, I don't want to sound like weird or anything, but it kind of gives you a hint just to play up. So if I'm playing in that scale and I'm like, and it starts to get to, that's when I'd be all like, I would do something along the lines of, I mean, not in that way. It wouldn't sound like a complete little lick, but it would go with the flow. You don't just want to stop. You want to create flow between licks, so you can't just be like, you don't want to just have it so separated and in segments. It's got to be something that flows along the lines of, I mean, that wasn't the best example because I don't really have backing music right now to give you an example, but if someone was sitting here and playing the blues shuffle, or just an A7 chord, to that I might play some lines of sorry, that was me getting mad because I hit the wrong string. But anyways, but I think I'm kind of getting the idea across. Improvising and what comes to you and what you feel is a really hard thing to convey, in my opinion. But I think that I did explain it sort of well. It is kind of like riding waves. If the riff is going up. Oh gosh, that didn't sound good. Yeah, my bad. Okay, sorry for that. I was just getting confused because I just got done playing an A. Anyways, but if it gives you something that's higher up, you'd want to start, if this is going back to E, by the way, you'd want to start getting higher up and just kind of sort of getting the feel for that wave. And you can come back down too. I mean, there are no rules strictly, but it's just a general idea, and you don't really have to think about it so strictly. Like, oftentimes, pretty much anybody will tell you just go with the flow and don't stress too much about it. Because if you think to yourself, if you're playing an A and you're like, okay, I'm gonna hit this, you don't really think that way. You just kind of like, okay, this sounds good, and I feel like, you know, I like this. And I'm not really giving the greatest examples, so I do apologize for that. But it is a vague, kind of muddy subject. It's not very easy to explain until you've had some practice.